New Year's Am I the Asshole posts. Am I the asshole for telling my brother I won't be babysitting his kids anymore because they messed up my plans for the new year? Whenever my brother, 27 male, needs help, I take care of his 2 kids, 4 female and 6 male. Even though I love my niece and nephew, New Year's Eve was the last blow for me. My brother and his wife asked me to watch their kids while they went to a fancy New Year's Eve party. Friends begged me to go with them even though I already had plans with other people. They said they couldn't find anyone else. It was even an offer to pay me twice what I normally get, so I reluctantly agreed. They were supposed to come back at 1 a.m. so I could still hang out with my friends late at night. However, they did not show up at midnight. I texted, called, and even tried calling their party location, but no one answered. They finally got in around 4 a.m., and it was clear they were drunk. They pretended it wasn't a big deal. My brother laughed when I told him how upset I was that they had left me all night and said, "You didn't have anything important going on anyway." That hurt a lot. I told him they could no longer have me watch if they couldn't respect my plans or time. It's making my brother mad, and he says I'm being too tough. My parents agree, saying family helps family. Am I the asshole because she wouldn't watch after this? Definitely not the asshole. The brother's the asshole. They should have cared for your plans. Don't babysit the kids anymore. Unless they promise they'll be there when they say they will. Am I the asshole for having second thoughts about marrying my fiance after a drunk comment? Not sure why I'm even here. Guess I'm still trying to process what my 27 male fiance drunkenly admitted to me, 30 female last night. For context, my fiance, who I'll refer to as Alex, and I have been together for just under 2 years and got engaged in December. Everything has been a blast since the day we met, and we keep surprising each other with just how awesome of a couple we can be. Last night, we had a special date for New Year's planned when we dressed up like bowlers from the 1970s and bowled our asses off for a few frames until we decided on a winner. During the 5 games, we ended up drinking 2 of those beer towers, about 7 beers each altogether. He's not a big drinker, so he was a little more than tipsy when we decided to call it a night and head home. We live really close by, so we walked to and from the bowling alley since we figured we were going to be drinking. On that 15-minute walk home, he was doing the usual mushy "I love you" and other cute little things he tells me while giggling. Things took a bit of a turn when he started talking about how much he enjoys our sex. He's always told me that we have amazing sex and that he can't get enough, but in his drunken state, he told me something different. "You're the 3rd best that I've ever had." I stopped walking for a second and just stared at him in disbelief. Alex just looks at me, giggles again, and kisses me. Thinking he was just saying that on purpose to agitate me a bit like he does, but not really mean it, I laugh it off, and we keep walking. Once we get home and sit on our front porch, he brings it back up. "I really do mean it though, babe. You're amazing, but I have had better before you." Castrate! I was as confused as I was mad, embarrassed, and offended all at the same time. I asked him what the hell he was saying to me and if he was being serious. He started crying and told me that he had a one-night stand before he met me with some woman that was like a sex goddess. He also mentioned a past fling with a guy when they were both teenagers and experimenting with drugs. Both of these confessions took me completely off guard because he never in our time together mentioned anything about being bi-curious or anything like that, let alone promiscuous sex. My commitment to Alex is starting to change now though, and I haven't been able to look at him all day and avoided him. I'm having second thoughts about following through with a marriage if he'll always think of me as a 3rd place prize. Even if I did think there was something about Alex that wasn't as good as a past relationship, I wouldn't openly tell him that I thought he wasn't as hot, handsome, has a small dick, etc. That just seems kind of mean and feels a little malicious or petty. Am I the asshole for reconsidering this engagement? Not the asshole, he's the asshole. I mean, my gut says dump him. Am I the asshole for canceling on our family cruise? So, my parents wanted me to do a cruise for the holidays. They invited me, 25 female, my boyfriend, 27 male, my brother, 28 male, and his girlfriend, 26 female. My brother, let's call him James, has always been the golden child. Some backstory. Back in high school, when James was discovered to be selling pills, he was just going through a phase. Meanwhile, while I got caught smoking weed, my parents threatened to kick me out. James lost his scholarship and dropped out of college 3 different times, but he's still perfect. I graduated a semester late and I didn't try hard enough. James still lives in the state where he attends college, and I live in my home state near my parents. He doesn't work, he's not currently in school. My parents buy him flights all the time to come visit, but don't buy me a flight to go see him or go anywhere else. My parents send him money for rent and life necessities. He bought a $2,000 dog recently with that money. When I got my first big job at age 22, my parents immediately kicked me off their insurance since I had the option of benefits. James was on their insurance until he turned 26. Last year, I got laid off and moved back in with my parents to save money. When I got my new job, my parents told me I needed to pay $10,000 in back rent, which was never discussed previously. I did finish paying it off and recently moved in with my boyfriend. This has been a pattern my whole life. James gets everything handed to him, and I have to work my ass off. So now to the cruise. My parents said they wanted to do this and bought tickets for themselves, James, and his girlfriend. They told me to get my own ticket since I have a well-paying job. I was super upset and told them it wasn't fair that I was the only one who had to buy their own ticket. My boyfriend couldn't come due to holiday plans with his own family. My parents said I was acting spoiled and that green wasn't a good look on me. I'm so tired of hearing that phrase at this point. They said it's not like I get a nice new room since we'd be outside the majority of the time anyway, which is true, but then why get James a nice room? I decided I had enough and I wasn't going. But here's where I might be the asshole. I let them continue thinking I was for months. Then on the night before they left, they said to get to their house by 8 a.m. so we could start the drive to the port. At 8:30 that day, they started messaging me asking where I am. I texted them, since you didn't want to put the effort in to have me join you, I will be attending my boyfriend's Thanksgiving instead. Have a nice trip with your favorite child. Then I muted the chat. I talked to my friends about this, and some said it was petty of me to cancel with no warning, and others said I should have sucked it up and gone since I would have had fun when I got there. They've been on the cruise for a couple days now, and I'm starting to regret how I handled things. Yeah, I probably would have had fun, and it's not like I couldn't afford the ticket, but I also could have handled the delivery better. But at the same time, I'm so sick of them treating me like this. So, am I the asshole for canceling on our family vacation? If my parents charged me $10,000 randomly after I'd stayed with them and they never brought it up, I paid that, and then they bought a ticket for my deadbeat brother to go on the family cruise, but then made me buy my own ticket, no, I wouldn't go on that. You're not the asshole, your family's the asshole. Am I the asshole for not wanting my boyfriend to spend New Year's Eve with his ex? My boyfriend Mark and I have been together for almost 3 years. We've had a strong relationship, and I've always trusted him as he has been open and honest about his past. A couple weeks ago, Mark casually mentioned that his ex, Lisa, is back in town for the holidays. He said they've stayed friendly over the years and caught up occasionally, which I was fine with because I never saw her as a threat. I've never been the jealous type, and he's always been upfront about their friendship. But then Mark told me he wants to spend New Year's Eve at a party Lisa is hosting. At first I thought he was inviting me to come along, but no, he wants to go alone because it's a small gathering and it would be awkward if I were there since they all know him as Lisa's ex. Ooh. When I pointed out how strange that sounded, he rolled his eyes and said I was making it a bigger deal than it is. He was super dismissive of me and didn't want to engage farther. He insists it's just a low-key party with old friends and says Lisa has always thrown great New Year's Eve events. He also said that because I have social anxiety, I should just stay home. I told him I wasn't comfortable with him spending such an important night with an ex, especially without me. New Year's Eve feels like a time you should spend with the person you love, not your former partner. He says it's not a big deal. The part that really gets me is that he doesn't have any other plans for us that night. It feels like he's prioritizing his ex over me. When I brought this up, he accused me of trying to control him and said I was overacting. He also said if you trusted me, this wouldn't even be an issue. I don't want to be controlling, but it feels disrespectful. Like I should just stay home while he's having fun with an ex? Am I overreacting for thinking this is crossing a line? Your boyfriend's the asshole. Dump him. Dump him. Dump him. That's the theme for the day. Dump him. Am I the asshole if I use TSA pre-check while my wife and kids don't when we travel for a wedding in 2 months? I got TSA pre-check. I got it because I travel a lot for work. I take on advantage 15 plus trips a year. I hate taking my belt off at the lines and hassles of removing shoes. So I paid the $77 or so and got TSA pre-check. It makes flying easier. Now in 2 months, my wife, kids, and I are flying for a family wedding. The kids were talking about it at dinner tonight. My daughter, being dramatic, said the lines are so long at the airport. I said, not for me, I got TSA pre-check. My wife said, you're not gonna wait in the long lines with us? I said, okay, in this case I will. But would I be an asshole if I didn't and used my TSA pre-check? I 99% probably won't, but wondering the consensus here. Edit, update. Clearly this is an asshole move. I'll get TSA pre-check for my wife, and apparently kids are free in with parents. Yeah, you're the asshole for leaving your wife and her kids to stand in line while you get to shimmy on down. Buy the freaking TSA pre-check for your wife. Damn, bro. That's all the Am I the Asshole stories I have for you today. If you want to know more, let me know.